Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Singapore. Good morning, everyone on LinkedIn. This is Adrian Chu. I'm the CEO founder of Career Agility International. And every Friday morning, my lovely co-founder and me, Yan, will here to share with you career matters that matter to your career on our weekly Career Success Show. Good morning, Yan. How are you feeling today?
Good morning. It's TGIF Day. It's the best day of the week.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be school holidays, but our kids are so big already. So it's like, it's not much activity going on my side. Yeah,
I think my kids wake up at 11 every day.
School holidays.
Except the one that goes to work. The one that goes to work obviously has to go to work. But
I envy that. But if you're also having if you're watching us from home today because you're off, well, hope you have a super long weekend. I know a couple of our clients have landed fantastic jobs. Want to congratulate them and say, happy landings. The new role is going to be very exciting. These are very, very good roles you've just landed. So congratulations for sticking to our program. And we want to share with you today about CVs because we've gotten a lot of feedback about how do I do my CV? What should I do with my CV? And today, that's why we wanted to spend a bit more time. No, because
why the voice, Adrian?
I don't know. It's the voice. I should bring my sock puppet here. So it's like.
Apparently, we're having some technical issues on LinkedIn. Can you double check?
It seems okay to me, and I have no idea, but I'm gonna just roll on with it anyway. But we always get a lot of questions about CVs, and there are many things that we can do and many things we can't do. What's your take on CVs, Ian?
I have a lot to say about resumes, but the biggest one is this: there is no one version that's going to be sufficient for all applications, and there is no one individual who will say, okay, just fix. Okay, no, wait. There's no one resume that's like, oh, just fix it, and it's going to be fine, and that's going to help me open doors. Mm-hmm. No, that doesn't work. And by the way, to our listeners, if you have any issues on the technical side, just refresh your browser.
Yeah, you know why? Because it's Friday morning.
The live will come back on.
The computer's a bit slow. I know. We love to have you here.
So I'm just saying that everyone.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, you're saying, Ian. No, you're saying.
No, I'm just saying that resumes are unique. Resumes have to have a context. Everyone is different, and each person's going to have multiple versions. You cannot just have one version and go, okay, that's enough, it's done. Good luck to those that do think that way.
Yeah. In fact, if you have any CV questions, please feel free to drop the question into the chat box. We will try to answer them. And once again, if you just joined us, my name is Adrian, and together with me is my co-founder, Super Coach Yan. And together we are from Career Agility International. And today we want to talk about CVs. And the cool thing about us talking about CVs today is this: there's a full disclosure here. Okay, so number one, we at Career Agility, we are career strategists. We help people with their career strategy to become successful in their careers. We help them, to land better jobs, even if they're in their own jobs currently. We help them to have learn how to enjoy the jobs more and how to be more effective and how to enjoy career longevity. As such, we are not CV writers. We don't write CVs or resumes alone. So today, that's why. We want to answer all your CV questions. We're really good at it, but we don't just do CVs alone. So unlike the other CV writers who will probably keep all the secrets to themselves, hey, today we're just going to spill the beans. Ask us anything. How long's the CV should be? Should I what details should I put in there? How many versions should I? Just drop the CV bombs, question bombs in there. Okay, we're gonna tell you everything. Yeah, we've seen CVs that bomb before. What was the longest CV document you've received before?
12 pages. 12 page resume, and and I've seen resumes in PowerPoint and Excel spreadsheets. An Excel spreadsheet resume.
Okay, I want you.
I think the PowerPoint really takes the cake.
Wow. I hope they sent it in a small file and not like a 48 gigabyte file.
It was charming. It was like an intro / presentation. Quite charming, but obviously has to be correctly used.
I once received a CV. Okay, it was 6 pages,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Yeah.
The addendum was
Yeah.
another 14.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a different story.
It's not one of those academic.
So that means
you know,
it's an autobiography.
it's another. Yeah,
The
that's so funny.
scariest resume, and just to share with everybody, is, this was back in the day when I guess people weren't as sophisticated, and we were still sending Word documents. People did not PDF their documents at that time, so Word resumes were landing on my desk, and
Okay.
I clicked. There's a little icon in the email. You click on it, and then the document opens, right?
Yes.
The document opened, and the first thing I saw was a full screen of his photograph. It just boom
Like this,
right into the screen. Yes, because you open the doc, and when in the first page is the entire page was his photograph,
Wow.
and I had a shock, jumped back about like 2 meters, and I started cursing.
Oh,
and I
no.
called. Oh my! I mean, do not scare the recruiters.
Okay, it must have been an ugly guy. So if you're Tom Cruise, or it's
No,
like,
it
whoa.
was a well taken. No, even then, right? It's a jump scare.
Oh,
It was a well taken studio photograph with it looked a little bit like the presidential photo with a lot of torso. There's a whole the suit thing, and then he's in this posture. There's this posture with his hands kind of crossed. That kind of photo. I think people can imagine. Can you imagine that jumping into your whole screen? So my monitor was quite large at the time, so
Boom.
it was yes, jump scare. It was not good. I did not appreciate it.
That's funny.
Did not appreciate it.
So that's why there are lots of things to talk about CVs today. Okay, but as usual, we want to talk a bit about what's on the headline news. So let's have a look. Oh wow! This week everyone's talking about everybody else, all the PMETs wanting to resign. Right now, early in this year they were saying 1 out of 4 want to resign their jobs, and now it's gone up to 74% of PMETs want to resign their jobs. What next? Now, by the end of the year, it's like 120% people want to resign twice. I have no idea why are the numbers going up, Ian.
I don't know, but at the back of my mind, you're always thinking of quitting, right? Every other day when something bad happens, there's a trigger event, you're thinking, ooh, I want to quit. Or I don't need this, or I'm not paid enough for this. And we entertain those fantasies. And I guess when market conditions are right, then people start to execute those thoughts, or they start to take action. Yeah.
I think so too. But what's more important and what's more interesting for a piece of data is the chart on the right. Top 5 reasons for planned resignations. I mean, why do people want to leave their jobs? And a large part of it, almost 60%, they want to change industry, their role, or their career. So these are career switches. I think they probably had enough of. They're quite fatigued with what they were doing, and they want to do a career change.
Or because of COVID, they have not had many opportunities, and so have been kind of stuck.
Yeah,
that's probably another reason.
But these are the guys. These are the people who want to switch industries altogether. So. And it's not easy, as we know. It's not straightforward as some people think it is. So
yes,
if you're not careful, they're in for a bumpy ride, aren't they?
Yeah. So you don't want to react emotionally, because you end up not looking at all the factors in making that decision rationally. So imagine having to be very triggered because your boss was unpleasant to you, or you had a nasty day, and then you go, okay, fine, I quit because I already have another job lined up, and that company really loves me. They offered me the job on the spot, and they're giving me a 15% increase, and it sounds really good. And then you go in there and you realize how deep the can of worms goes, or you realize that it's not what you signed up for. Every one of us knows, right, that when we go for the interviews, they're going to show us their best face, right?
Oh yes.
They're going to go like, this is the role, this is the responsibility, this is the scope, this is the things that you're going to be doing, blah blah blah, and then they'll paint it in such a nice. I mean, they will add a couple of realistic, I guess, expectations, but it's going to sound really, really good. And then when you join, and your relationships change, because now you're no longer an external party, you are a subordinate. And then they go,
Yep.
oh yeah, something happened and I need you to take this. Oh, and this other thing is going to be under you as well. And we're going to
Yeah.
expect you to hit the moon, but we're going to give you two screws and a screwdriver. Good luck, right? So
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like someone once told me when they joined a company and they saw the company for what they really were. He described it as it's like getting married, and after the wedding night you go back and you see the bride without the makeup on. You go like,
okay, nasty
Terrible guy. It was such a
patriarchal comment.
it was
Yes,
such a
not very
horrible
nice.
comment, but anyway, but it was so
But
funny.
it's an apt analogy. Yes.
Yeah, so that's why you got to be careful. But one thing we want to reiterate is this: if you are part of this 57% who want to do a mid-career switch, okay, there are thought processes, there are steps you can take, there are methodologies. Come talk to us. We will help to reduce your risk. Okay, so
yeah, and if it's too good to be true, chances
it
are
probably
it is.
is. Yeah, it probably
Yeah.
is. So
There's
So,
no such thing as a free ride.
yeah, come talk to us. Okay, so today we want to talk about resume
Resumes.
things to leave out. Okay, so if you just joined us, once again, good morning. Today with me, Yen is our co-founder for Career Agility, and I am the CEO founder of the said organization. Okay, what we do is we help individuals like you to get career clarity, to be able to enjoy your career better, and to achieve career success. And today we're going to talk about CVs. What are some of the things that you need to leave out of CVs? And Yen and I had a very, very fun time preparing this list because there was just so many. We didn't know what to put
There
in.
are
what to
things you should. There are
pick
things
out.
you should omit. There are things you should omit, and there are things that you cannot omit. So you need to omit the right things.
Yeah, and
So
if
don't
you
don't
have
leave out
questions,
don't leave out jobs. Yeah.
yeah, please drop in the questions in the chat box, okay? And this is something which,
Yes.
if you always wanted to ask, and what are the credentials for Yen and I? Yen has been doing headhunting for the longest time, and me too. And together we have done this for more than 40 years collectively. Okay, we've seen hundreds and hundreds and thousands of CVs, and we know what we like, what we don't like, and there are things that turn us off straight away, and we're not the only ones, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So funny. It's like, oh goodness, even to today we still see a lot of CVs coming in that we're going like,
It's a little bit better. But there are flavors, and then there are patterns, and there are people who do funny things because they have had that one experience. So this is a fallacy, right? It's a psychological thing, right? If you went out to market and you met person A, and person A says, hey, you should do this, or you shouldn't do that, and because of that you take that as gospel, and then moving onwards, every single version of that is because person A told you should ...
Yeah.
And I get arguments like that all the time. People are always going like, oh, but the other recruiter really liked this
Yes.
part,
yes,
and that other line manager really liked that I wrote this.
Yeah.
And because I'm saying, hey, this piece of information on your resume may not be entirely relevant for this role, and you go, oh, but the other manager liked it, and therefore I'm like, so if you take as gospel what one person says, then I think you're limiting yourself, your agility. You're limiting your agility because yes, just because person A likes it, doesn't mean that it's suitable.
Everyone
for
else will like it, right?
Other readers, correct?
Yeah.
So
And
that's one of the biggest challenges.
And that's interesting because if you listen to everybody, you're not going to get it right because everyone has their own opinion.
Everyone.
No, it sounds like
Exactly.
the old story about the man and his son bringing the donkey to the market. Do you hear that one?
That's right. Yes.
Right?
Because
And then, okay, so for those
along
the
the way,
listeners, yeah, for who are not familiar with the story. So along the way to the market, the man and the son brings the donkey, and then they're both walking the donkey, and then they pass by a group of people, and this guy stands and says, so stupid, there's a donkey, nobody wants to ride it. So the father gets on and is riding. Then the next group of people, they look at the donkey, the father riding a donkey, and he says, what a useless son, make the father what a useless father, make the son walk.
What a selfish
Yeah,
father.
what a selfish father, So the father got off, and then the son got on. And then when the next group,
And the next person says,
what a selfish son, what a
what a
useless
selfish
son.
You should let your son, you should let your father ride.
Correct. And then both jumped on the donkey, and then people said, so cruel to the donkey.
The animal.
Just overload the animal, right?
And then they ended up carrying the donkey.
carrying the donkey to the market. Okay, so sometimes you listen to so many so-called resume writers, CV writers, they tell you, oh, this format good, oh, must put your photo here. It's like, okay, just go with, don't get too fancy. That's why today we're going to talk about some of the things that you should take off your CV. Okay, I mean, the stuff to leave in are the stuff that the salient points, but sometimes you want to take stuff off. One of the biggest things we want to ask ourselves is, why do you not want to put in too much info? Or why are some things you want to take out? The bottom line is this: your resume is being read by a recruiter or hiring manager or a headhunter who has to sift through hundreds and hundreds of CVs a day. It's very tiring. You put in unnecessary information. Not only do you overload them, you also distract them and sometimes annoy them.
Yes, and a chunk of text is unreadable. When you get too much text, it's just unreadable. And don't forget, the hiring leaders, so if you're talking about recruiters or talent acquisition, their job is to sift through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of resumes. So maybe they would put in the effort, because that's what their KPIs are. Number of interviews or number of candidates that they've shortlisted. But the hiring manager is not measured on how many resumes he or she has to read. So they're unlikely to even waste the time doing it, because they've got more important things to do. They've got KPIs to meet, they've got budgets, they've got stakeholders, they've got all sorts of other measurable KPIs. So reading your resume is not one of them. So
and resume reading is not. And resume reading is not a particularly pleasant or fun thing to do, right? Task, right? It's like a choice. So you want to present it nicely. That's why you have to put the right information in. And more importantly, for today's topic, we need to take out the information that's not needed. So what sort of information you want to leave out of your CV? Okay, if you look at the crawl downstairs, leave that bleep out of your CV. Okay, now, number one thing that Yen and I always joke about is this: my career objectives.
Can you please show the slides?
Okay, so number one, we get this a lot. Okay, my career objective.
Yeah.
You put you chunk up your career objective smack in the middle of prime real estate, right at the top.
Yes, right at the top. This is what I want. Give it to me.
This is what I want. I want to work for a company that can further my career and give me the exposure to be a leadership position. For me. I want. You know,
very entitled.
Stop for a moment and think. If you're the hiring manager, okay, who cares what you want? I want to see the good stuff. Bring the good stuff. Can you imagine? You go to a movie and you want to watch the trailer for Top Gun Maverick, right? The trailer's going to come on. And instead you see Jerry Bruckheimer saying, instead of watching Tom Cruise flying on the plane, I want to entertain you. I want to make sure your next 2.5 hours is a fantastic experience. I want to make sure that I make a lot of money in the box office. Hey, shut up, get on with it already. Get on the show, right? So really, your career objectives.
It's not wrong to state what you want, because it's what hiring people or the hiring leaders need to know as well. They want to know that you want this job. But hang on, isn't that the whole reason for submitting a resume?
Yeah,
the act of submitting a resume is an indication of interest, no?
Yeah, exactly right.
And I think it's important for them to know how you view your career, your vision, but it's not something that you want to make smack and communicate it in such an entitled manner. It is important, and I think that will come up during conversation in the interview. You can go into more detail again about how perhaps your vision for your own future and your career objectives aligns with the organization. But the resume is a little bit preemptive. You don't want to do that up front and sound so entitled.
And especially I've seen career objectives that are like 3 paragraphs long. Okay, it's
and
like
empty.
It's way too much. And and vacuous.
And
that's
very,
the big
very,
word, right?
very, very empty. Yes, it's a big word.
Yeah.
It's a big word for the day. It's very motherhood, very window dressing. It's like, I want to contribute to the best of my ability to this organization. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
How? Are you filing papers, or are you making coffee?
So that's why I'll rather put that statement up there about how I can help your company make money. I mean, I would even, there's so many things, better things you can put up there rather than my career objective. So if you have a my career objective, and if you think that, old school, I really must put a my career objective there, don't get waste the whole prime real estate. Maybe one sentence, okay, fine. If you think you can sleep better at night and knowing that your CV has a my career objective, then please put it in. Okay, don't lose sleep over it. Once again, it's just our point of view, okay? And what do we know? We've only been doing this for 40 years. So, but it's it's something which you don't want to waste prime real estate for, okay? And moreover,
so snarky this morning, Adrian.
See, but you see, the point is this: if you have only 15 seconds of the reader's attention span, okay, and that's our attention span, thanks to the voluminous amount of CVs that pour in every day, as well as the shortened attention span that TikTok has left us with. Okay, it's you don't want him to spend 10 seconds of that 15 seconds reading your career objective, and it's like, okay, no time. Sorry.
I think most readers just move on to what you used to do. They'll just move on to the experience.
They won't pay attention if
it's a fairly recent one. Yeah.
So do not spend too much time on my career objectives, because it's pointless. It's not read. It's not going to be read anyway. Honestly, I don't read career
pointless
objectives.
on the resume. Yeah, but it will come up again during conversation. Again, it's about it's a whole process. So there is a time and place.
You should bring it up, right? And you should bring it up during the interview process, but not on prime real estate. So that's number one. Number two, one of the interesting things that we see is some people feel compelled to leave the reason why they left their job.
Yes, I think because certain recruiters asked for it. And I have seen, when you meet a recruiter or an agent or a headhunter or an executive search, okay, I put them all into the same bucket. So when you meet one of them and they present your profile to their client, they usually put it in some kind of a template. And I have seen that some recruiters have in their reports, for each job that you've had, they put the reason for you having moved on.
But that's okay if you're submitting in their form,
that is for
right?
them. No, that's for them to do, because that's their job. And so they will interview you, and then they ask you, so why did you move from A to B, B to C, C to D? What happened here? What happened? And so they would put that as part of their entire profiling report.
The story.
And I've seen others then adopt it, and they put a little one-liner after each role, to explain that they were headhunted, or they left for sabbatical or something. I think it's not necessary. I can see why you'd want to do that, because you want to present your entire story on the resume. But it is that I get the purpose, but it is unnecessary. Okay, so if you think about it, right, if you omit putting the reason for leaving, does that mean that the organization is not likely to call you if you have all the skills? And then if they want to know, at least they'll call you and go like, so what happened with A and B and C, and what happened, right? At least you're speaking to somebody, and then you have a chance to verbally explain it even better than what you might have written. So I don't think it's necessary. It takes up too much space.
It does, right? And but can I be terrible?
Devil's advocate. Yes, go ahead.
No, not devil's advocate. I want to be a bit snarky.
Contrarian. Okay.
No, do you know? And I hate to say, at least anyone out there, not meaning to offend anyone, but a lot of times, from my experience, when I see a person putting reason for leaving, they're actually very, very defensive.
Yes.
They normally have a patchy career. Okay. Oh, I left this because boss no good. Oh, that one because target's too high.
What?
And then there are a
but
lot
people
of
don't write that.
They don't lah, but I read between the lines, you see. And then I see.
Yeah. And you're inserting your own frame of reference.
Yeah, correct. I'm thinking, why do you have to put this thing? I'd rather you not put it in, okay, and let me guess rather than you put it in and then I suspect.
Confirm it.
Or confirm it. And then it's like it's a confirmation bias, you see. So but the people who tend to put the ROL, reason for leaving, a lot of times they are being very defensive, because they do find that the jobs are a bit patchy. Now, if your career is patchy, okay, we have done in a previous episode, you can check our back records and back shows on what to do if you have a patchy career history, if you were a job hopper. Okay, there are ways to mitigate it. You can listen to that episode. But a lot of times when you put ROL there, reason for living, I want to ask more questions.
RFL.
Reason for living.
ROL.
Reason for living.
RFL.
Not ROL, RFL. Okay, reasons for living. Where did ROL come from? Reasons for roll on floor laughing. I think that's where it's coming from. But don't put it down. If it is for career progression,
necessary.
I will be able to see it. I mean, if you're from company
That's-
A that's smaller, company B that you move to that's bigger, job title increase, of course it's career progression, right? So you're stating the obvious. So don't put in.
You're wasting
living.
space. Yeah.
Mm.
It's not necessary entirely. And
And
again, what we said earlier, right, is like just because person A tells you, or one individual whom you admire or respect says, I always like to see this, but he's one individual versus the rest of the world, and so you need to figure out whether or not what one person tells you is relevant for everyone else. It's not. So think about it again. If there's a piece of information there that is good to have, not a must-have, and if it's better explained verbally and in person, at least you control the narrative. Versus as indicated, demonstrated by you indeed, right? When you say, wow, when you put in the sentence, this is what I'm thinking, holy cow. And if that's dangerous, right? And if you put it in and the person jumps to the wrong conclusion, you're not even given a chance to say your piece, right? So
don't put it in. So please don't put your reasons for leaving RFL. Otherwise, you're just opening up a new can of worms. Okay. Now, yes, Deborah says reason of leaving ROL. Deb says it's she said reason of leaving. Okay, that's a good one. Okay. Now, the next thing you want to tick off as well, okay, is your private data. Goodness, people put personal data in there, and
yes,
write
that's
down.
Again because in other organizations or their previous experiences, someone told them you have to give me your IC number, you have to give me your date of birth, and that's again not their fault, but they never knew.
We're going to show you examples of private data later on, but I want to let you know a harsh behind-the-scene reality that happens at recruitment firms, okay? They will get your CV, they like your CV, they'll print out one copy. One copy they give to their boss. The boss says, I like it. Okay, print another copy, I want to send to my client. Print another copy out, and they print so many copies out of your CV. And after they've landed the job, the job is closed, 3 months later, what do? They don't shred it. A lot of companies don't shred it. They put it away, and 4 months later, one of the staff whose child is doing PSLE needs rough paper. Okay, they'll bring the whole stack of rough paper home, and then they'll do the homework, and then this composition is so good. They submit it to the class teacher, and then suddenly it's like, Adrian Chew's salary details here, IC number.
Yeah, that is scary.
Reason for leaving. It's like everything's all in there. Okay?
And you're just pointing out the hard copy scenario, but what I'm also going to caution is the soft copy, right? Because when you submit it, even though it's intended to be confidential, and then you waste the time putting at the bottom a footer, private and confidential. I mean, seriously, do it. And so the person that receives it forwards it to 3 others, and then it just grows like a virus.
It snowballs.
Right?
It snowballs, right? Yeah, it snowballs. It's so
exponential multiplier effect.
And
then those 3 individuals send it to 5 each. It's kind of like when you're going to St. Ives, and then there's 7 wives, it's 7 cats, and then each time, and then it floats in the interweb, and before you know it, some other person receives it, and it's just not enough. No.
It's not
so
not smart thing to do.
Don't put the private information. What
Remember
that your resume is a public document, even though it's intended for confidential purposes.
Yes.
Guys,
assume that once it goes out, it goes out, right?
It is like a brochure. It's a brochure with a little bit more facts than normal.
But I've seen before
keep it kosher.
I've seen before where people spill everything. They really put in their address. Everything is almost like an application form, which shouldn't be. Okay, it shouldn't be.
Confession. Many years ago, my first ever resume I've ever written for myself, right? Because my first ever resume, and we back in the day we didn't have career coaching, we never had any support. Remember those days?
Those are the days.
I filled in an application form to a major Singapore bank. This was back in the day, right? First ever job. I filled in the application form, and after that, all subsequent applications looked exactly like that application form,
Oh no.
including typing speed.
Typing speed. What's okay? No, but you know, okay, that was the 90s.
That was-
Okay, so those are the 90s.
Very early 90s. It's so embarrassing
Yeah.
thinking about
So
it. I cringe.
Yeah, but especially now, even your NRIC number, this by PDPA, you're not even supposed to reveal them anyway. So and especially for the address, I don't know. I find addresses a bit intrusive because they're gonna see where you stay. Wow, So it's
That's true.
yeah.
Back in the day, when we had landlines and we needed mailing addresses, I think it was part
Yeah.
of the game. Today,
Yeah.
I think it's no longer necessary for you to put your mailing address or your home address. So
Yeah.
it's okay not to put in your home address. Please
Yeah.
don't.
In fact, one of the things over here, salary details, we tell you not to put it in. It's not just for the privacy issue, but you put your salary there. Okay, you volunteer your salary there. You are basically capping yourself to a particular range
Yeah.
of opportunities without even them coming in to talk to you or you talking to them. You're basically giving them a reason to exclude yourself.
And
Okay,
in that same point, sometimes the organizations say you must submit an application with expected salaries. Again, revealing that information limits you as well, because you're effectively saying, well, this is what I'm asking for. But what if they had a larger budget? Why would you do that to yourself, right?
You know what was the best response I ever seen for someone who was asked salary expected? His response was as soon as possible.
It's like asking, how would you like your steak done? Big.
It's funny. So please, do not put your private data.
Don't give away data points. Yeah, not necessary.
Yeah, not necessary. Okay, just give enough. See, the underlying thing is this: your CV is a brochure. Your CV is
Correct.
not the operations manual. Okay, and I want to especially address this to the engineers out there. Okay, whenever we have clients who are engineers, they're very technical. They want to put in all the, which is to a certain extent yes. Okay, but we tell them, look, you don't have to put every project in there. They just need to have a flavor. Your CV is basically the brochure, which gets them interested in wanting to meet you. You can tell them all your specifications, all the amazing projects you've done when you got a face-to-face. But if I put a manual in front of you, this is my operation manual, okay, no one's going to read it. So keep it light, keep it sharp, keep it to the point. And all these details do not need to go in because they occupy very important real estate as well.
Agree.
Now,
so again, don't put in things that are not necessary. Go back. Go back to the private information.
Yes.
There are
Go.
many other things, right? Under this category of privacy, please don't reveal your marital status, number of children. It's not necessary. Again, it's got no. It's not a reflection of your ability to do the job, and it should not be a defining factor at all. So there are a whole host of other types of information again, but I think these are the bigger ones. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, some people put in irrelevant information, like hobbies. It could be relevant. If I was going for a job with Barilla, for instance, the spaghetti company, maybe I'll tell them that I'm a chef. That's my hobby is cooking. But when you put in things like hobby taxidermist, okay, or taxidermy,
flower arrangement. It's not soccer on weekends with the other old people just to keep fit.
Yeah,
running,
unless
watching movies,
marathon. Unless you're an Iron Man, and you did the Boston Marathon and everything. So it's like, maybe that might be interesting achievement, but don't put unnecessary information in, right? And especially your religious political view,
Oh, that's very dangerous. Very dangerous. I've seen resumes. Again, it's not it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think you need to understand your audience. So if your audience is secular and your resume is every other role you've had and all your volunteer and you are very, very religious, it could be mismatched. So just keep things as neutral as possible.
Yeah.
Definitely don't talk about those. Yeah.
Hisham, thanks Hisham. Hisham brought up this interesting website. It's on the link. If what are employment agencies allowed to collect personal data? And the answer is yes and no. They can collect up to a certain limit, a certain extent, and then there are regulations as to how long they can keep it as well. So thanks Hisham. This was a really useful point.
And also how they protect their data. So they need to, I think they need to pass certain audit checks that they have done enough sufficient cyber security thingamies to ensure that the data is secure.
Yeah, they have to firewall it, do all sorts of cool stuff to it.
Yeah.
But what's important is that don't assume that they all have it. Okay, it's dangerous to assume. Okay.
Yeah, let's address one of the comments. Can we? Do you want to make your point first? Then we have.
No, I think that's it. That's it. Next comment. Yes, that's our next comment.
Okay. So that's a comment on how clients. I think from the recruiter perspective, with clients asking for very specific specifications on age, gender.
Okay.
They're not allowed to. They shouldn't be asking, but we sometimes get clients who have a preference for a certain type. So do you want to argue against the company that's hiring? I mean, there are so many there are many reasons for why they want to have the limitations. Is it because the whole team, the entire team are Gen Zers and you're in your 50s, and perhaps there are, again, we're trying not to judge here, and we're trying that yes, everyone should be more than equal, more than fair, and extremely just based on merit. But we know that
the reality of it is reality of it. So once again,
I've had requirements. I've had requirements that I feel that's not nice. But hey, they're the hiring company.
Yeah.
So and I just want to address, right, that if you feel that you are being discriminated against because of, again, whatever, age, race, whatever, then don't join that company. This is why fight against the structure, the system. It's their haters are gonna hate. So move on.
Yeah. So it doesn't make sense, right? So okay. So once again, the fourth thing that you should try to avoid, in fact, you should really avoid, and this I'm going to leave it into the domain of Yen, because Yen's really fancy formats like this. Whoa, look at that photo. Yen, you're talking about big photos.
That's not as big as the one that I mean, again, I have so much to say about photographs, and the photo that you choose to put on your LinkedIn, the backdrop that you choose to put as a LinkedIn backdrop, the choice of the photograph that you want to put in your bio, or whatever executive summary. It's a very subjective
it is,
picture, an image.
Yeah.
So if you're not smiling, or if it's in black and white, people jump to the wrong conclusions. Or if you've got your arms in front of you in a crossed, you're very defensive looking. If you're not smiling, if you're looking up, if you're looking away, if you're looking side eye, too many subjective elements. Anyway, for my
what's your comment on this format itself?
For my opinion, you don't need to put a photograph on your resume. At
not
all,
that big,
because you already have your LinkedIn in your LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do
so
you think?
If I see this version, I'm gonna go, whoa, okay, this is my impression.
Ego.
Please, yes, I was gonna go there. Don't shoot me.
Sorry.
The fact that his resume photograph and his name takes up so much space immediately tells
you're
me
right.
his
It's half the screen.
Tells me his sense of self-importance. His sense of self-importance is just astronomical.
What's your comment about non-standard things like splitting the page in half?
That's unpleasant because human eyes don't read in columns. We don't read columns well, and if it looks like a web page, I don't know where to look.
And how
So
about
it's
that?
it doesn't it doesn't give
How-
me the information I need easily. I have to look for it.
And then I'm going to make the screen bigger here, okay? So that everyone can see.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of this part where the skills and they put a scale over here? What's your opinion
Yeah,
of it?
infographics do not work, my friends. Please do not use an infographic on your resume. It doesn't say anything. And if you think that your resume looks better with icons and images and little things like that, it doesn't give me scale and scope. So imagine, right, that this person has indicated a scale of his skills. What candidate would put a specific skill and not give himself full marks?
One
know what
out
I
of
mean?
five. One out of
One
five
out of
boxes.
five, or it doesn't make sense. So
And even if you put
have a
5 out of
skill-
5, it's like based on who, right? Based on whose opinion, it's your
right,
opinion.
and who's
right?
ruler, right? So if you have a skill, just name the skill. Do not limit yourself to how well you think you perform, because some people are overly modest and other people are brazen. So it doesn't really help the reader. Don't waste space.
Don't waste space. And especially when you got another super colorful one like this. It's like
I don't know where
every
to
color
look.
in the palette. I don't know where to look. I'm lost. You look at it, it's like
It's a pretty document, and then you go, okay, so where's the substance?
yeah.
Infographics
don't
like
be
this are very good. Infographics like these belong on posters to educate the public, not to litter. It does not belong.
But the poster like that, you hand out to someone, they're gonna roll it up and throw it away, and therefore littering is so an anti-littering poster that makes you litter.
Okay. No, I've seen some really good educational ones.
Okay.
Especially for science fairs and for projects and competitions. Yes.
Yeah, no,
Then
exactly
yes,
right. It's an infographic, right? Like what you're saying. So you're exactly
Infographic.
correct. It's an infographic,
Yeah.
and your CV shouldn't be an
It's not.
infographic. Okay. Yeah,
No, it shouldn't be.
Maybe if you're a fresh graduate, I don't know, with nothing,
no.
with no content whatsoever, you put I don't know. What do you think? Because I don't handle fresh
No.
graduates. I have no idea.
I disagree.
Okay.
Fresh grads have a lot of transferable skills, and the purpose of the resume is to demonstrate their ability to learn. So the broader your experiences, the number of internships you've had, volunteer and co-curricular activities are worthy of mention, because again, it's a demonstration of attitudes rather than aptitudes, because you don't have the experience. So what are you selling? You're selling your hard work, your initiative, and your ability to learn very quickly. So no infographics, full stop. I'm putting my foot down.
Infographics, full stop. Okay, no. Super Coach Yan says no infographics, or she's gonna come and get you. Okay, if she's just gonna come and
No
get you.
infographics,
10 o'clock.
and please, I've seen those documents where they have a little icon of the logo of the organization that you work with. Then it looks sort
the
of like
pictures,
the LinkedIn
yeah.
page. It looks like a LinkedIn page. So there's an icon, and then there's the name of the
Okay,
company.
I know.
I might give that a pass if it doesn't take up too much space. Again, I might give that a pass if it doesn't take up too much space. But it's not necessary.
I don't think
Not
it's necessary.
necessary.
I mean, So, and the final thing we want to tell you not to put into your CV as well as outdated information which you have written with your quill and your ink and on parchment. Okay, no, I mean this really outdated information. Like for instance, it's like, I'm not kidding you. I still see CVs that goes like, I can use Microsoft Windows, Lotus Notes, WordPerfect even. Okay, and I have seen people put it, and the reason why is not because they're so proud of their WordPerfect. It's because that's the version of their CV which they did like 25 years ago, and they just added, and they never noticed the little thing at the bottom. Okay, any new skill they just add at the bottom, and they forgot to take off Lotus Notes. Okay, I have no idea what happened.
Speaking of which, right, if any of our listeners are in the habit of just adding to your current version instead of rewriting a brand new resume, you're in danger of font changes, minor lack of consistency. And I can tell when the document was written, or which one was updated and which ones were not. And I can tell you now, because I read a lot of resumes, and if I see a change in font, change in font size, I immediately have another data point going, this person did not take the effort to rethink his strategy or rethink his positioning. He just threw something together and stitched it together. We do it all the time, right? When we do client presentations,
we
kinda
append.
take-
We
we
just
take a-
append.
we take
yeah,
we
and
take an
edit.
old template and then we kind of refresh it. Like put the new wine into an old wine skin. Can you not do that? It's very dangerous.
It is, and that's why I don't like half done. To me, it shows that you have not been paying attention. You don't pay attention to details, and that's not a good sign if you're applying for a job
Yeah.
at my company.
Yeah.
And
Oh wait,
irrelevant
so back
old
to
information-
bullet point. Back to bullet point
One.
number 1.
Okay.
Please don't put Office. Yeah. So from today onwards, you do not need to indicate in terms of skills
Microsoft
that you
Microsoft
are good
Office.
at MS Office. No need. So if I see MS Office, or sometimes I'll see Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook.
Yeah.
No.
And you
there is
hope
no
you hope
word
and-
star.
no. You
yeah.
forgot the latest update was WordStar 2000. So
It's entirely unnecessary for any of us to put Office anymore, even though it is
True, right?
it is a skill that is still something that everyone's being used, but everyone knows how to use Office.
it's
So
what we call
it's-
table
it's in
stakes.
fact-
Everybody has them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's already you already have it, so
Even
don't waste
I
the
know how
space.
to I know how to use the mobile phone. I know how to turn on the computer. Cannot lah. Okay, that's terribly primitive.
Yeah.
We're so terribly bitchy here this morning. But it's
No.
true. We do see this and we want to share with you. Okay, what not to do. All information that's irrelevant. And I'm not kidding you.
Head
I've seen
prefect.
head prefect. Okay, no lah.
Yeah.
That's not. Once again, if you
That's an extreme example, Adrian. That's a very extreme example.
which I have seen before.
I'm going with those that have written their thesis and they go and they put the topic, or they put they put something like they were the head or the chairman of some university club. I have seen that still, because that's something they forgot is no longer relevant, and then they kind of just left it alone, and then they never touched that section again.
Yeah.
So university unions and co-curricular activities are unnecessary.
Correct. Especially now
Just the degree, full stop.
Yep. And this is so dated. References available upon request.
It's understood
when you
not to
put it-
waste time.
Yeah, it's just so dated when you do that, And the other thing is emails. Watch what your email is saying, okay? And I'm not kidding you. I've seen emails like this before, okay? I've changed some words, but it's like, just come on. You're supposed to have a professional one, We've seen very childish ones like My Little Dolphin, okay, or things like that. It's like you're applying for a CFO role and you're
Twinkle
it's
Star.
Lana.
I've seen Twinkle Stars. I've seen what was it? It wasn't Sexy Lips. I was some animal. It was I love cats. It can be generic, but you can tell that it's slightly inappropriate. And I don't know if it falls under outdated. It's more like inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
Email
Now, the outdated
handles.
piece was actually the hotmail.com email address. That's
Hotmail,
outdated.
yes, is outdated.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
yes.
This Hotmail is a bit
Or
outdated.
SingNet.
Is it still
Pacific
SingNet?
Net.
Are they- But
I don't know.
I checked out. I
have
checked out
seen-
last night. I checked out last night. There's no Pacific Net anymore. It's gone. It's a goner already. Okay, so I checked out. I was like, what
Okay,
happened?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I've seen Pacific Mail.
Yeah,
AOL.
but Hotmail. AOL, okay lah. I think
I don't
in a
know.
way. It's so unique here, so you don't. But it does. These sort of things do date you. Okay, and watch your professionalism when it comes to that. So you see,
Yes.
these are the things we want you to take note of. When you're doing your CV, okay, be very mindful that it is a brochure, and people are going to form opinions of you when they read the
Yep.
brochure. And if you put in all these things, please take them off, because it's just gonna make people have a rather dated or negative opinion of you. Whereas there's
Before
nothing
they
wrong
even
with
meet with you.
you. Yeah, there's nothing
Before
wrong
they
with you,
even
okay?
meet with you, they've created a bias. And so even if they do invite you in, there's an expectation. And so their frame of reference is negative as opposed to positive. And what we just want to aim for is hopefully something neutral/positive, right? So if you've presented information that immediately is a red flag or is a question mark, the interview is I mean, chances of you coming into an environment that is slightly questionable, skeptical, and they're going to give you a side eye, and then you have to fight this battle to win them, right?
Don't. You may not even be called in for the interview also. Just turn off straight away. So that's why, what can you do about it? I want you to realize that, okay, both Jen and I always say this. In the job search process that you're in, the resume is only the tip of the iceberg. It's right at the tip, okay? It starts up there. Why? Because there's so many other activities that go in to landing the right job, at the right role, in the right industry, in the right team, with the right boss, okay, that's in line with your career strategy. So there are just simply so many elements in there. And why are you spending so much money and time paying someone $500 to do your CV and you get the CV done right, okay, and then you submit it, and then the people are and know what I dislike the most? When resume writers say, oh, this will help you to beat the ATS.
I don't like the other one. Yeah, I don't like that either, but I don't like the one that promises and says this version of the resume guarantees you X number of interviews.
Yeah.
No one can guarantee you an interview if you don't do all of the bullets under the iceberg.
Yeah, and if you don't do all these things, and at Career Agility, we train you on all these other elements, not just the CV. The CV actually comes in right bottom rank.
As a formality.
Okay? As a formality.
In fact, if you do, sometimes if you do all of the below, the buttons, the bullets at the bottom, you don't even need a resume.
Yep.
Sometimes.
And that is true. And they might ask you for the resume for formality after the offer is made. Oh, by the way, I never
and they probably won't read it.
Yeah, just clip it. They clip it on, and they're like, okay, fine, So,
okay, whatever. Yeah.
Don't waste too much time on your resume. Yes, it's important. Okay, but don't sweat over it. If you are in,
but if you're going to do your resume, I think if you're doing the resume, you should put in the right things. At least do it right. It's worse if you, like if you listen to Adrian says don't waste so much time. So okay lah, anyhow throw, anyhow put words in.
Don't lose sleep. Don't lose sleep over it. Don't fret. Don't worry about all the small details. Okay, all those yes, it's important. Okay, but if you got your everything else under the iceberg wrong,
your resume is not gonna work.
It's the tail wagging the dog.
Wagging the dog.
Okay? The tail is wagging the dog here. No, the dog wags the tail. Okay, the tail cannot wag the dog. So that's why, if you are in job search mode, please just drop us an email. We run job search workshops. We run career strategy workshops. And if you're part of that 59% of people who are thinking of doing a career switch right now, come talk to us. Drop us an email at info@careeragility.org, or just connect to me and just drop me an email. We're always happy to share information and to show you how the best way forward is for your career.
Yes. And there's a lot more elements. So many more elements.
So many more things to do, right? Yeah. So that's why if you have your CV done already, you got all your elements correct, then how about your career strategy? Do you have a career strategy? And we've curated a series of videos here for you, just for you to watch and learn about what are the 3 key elements of developing your own career strategy. And if you never had a career strategy, this will be an interesting session for you to just sit down and understand what a career strategy is. We are including ebooks as well, two of our ebooks. So take a QR scan and just have a look at it and learn a lot more from us. We're very happy always to share information.
It's very relevant what you're saying, Adrian, because if you do the resume without really thinking about where you're going. So I'll give an example, right? That the clients come to us and they say, oh, I really don't like doing something. I'll give an example. Maybe I really hate the bureaucracy or the administration part of my job. But guess what? They're writing their resume without thinking because they haven't got a career strategy. And because they spend so much time doing administration and managing bureaucracy, it's going to be a flavor in their resume. And guess what? The opportunities that come will all be highly skewed towards administration and bureaucracy, the elements that you didn't want in the first place. So if you do not put your foot down and tell the universe what you want, think about it, you don't have a strategy, then your execution is unlikely to be well thought out. And then you go
Yeah.
and blame the universe for, only this type of roles come to me. I never get this other type of opportunity. So you look at the profile, you realize
Yeah,
that you're
exactly,
yourself
right?
wrong all along.
And that's
So
why
please,
it's
please go look at the strategy. Think about your career strategy.
it's painful because sometimes your strategy just needs a bit of tweaking. Okay, you're almost there. You're branding, maybe you're positioning, maybe you're targeting the wrong industries with the wrong positioning. Okay, and once you
Yeah.
tweak it, it could even be a LinkedIn tweak. Okay, that we've
Yes.
helped before, and it could change your destiny. Okay, so just come talk to us, and it's not you. Okay, it's just something that we could help with. So come talk to
Yeah.
us if you have any questions, and if you have any
And
career
it's
concerns.
9:25, which means the sun and the tilt of the Earth's axis has the light beam is coming in through, and now I've got a halo.
I see a halo behind
look
you.
like- I look like I'm.
It's quite drama, you know. Quite drama. I think.
I think it's time to drop off.
It's time to say goodbye. And thank you everyone once again. It's always lovely sharing ideas with you. And if you have any questions, drop us an email at info@careeragility.org. Okay, we're always happy, and we want to thank our regular listeners like Stella and Yoho and Deborah. Okay, this is the people who matter to us, and drop us if you have any questions or if you have any ideas for future topics. Just join in. Just drop us an email. We'll be happy to share more with you as well. But in the meantime,
And TGIF.
it's TGIF, and I'm really looking forward to this weekend because
TGIF.
it's amazing because
Catch up on your sleep.
catch on my sleep. Yeah, how did you guess? Okay, everyone, take care and have a great week ahead. Take care. Bye.